everyone, and welcome to my tutorial video called Digital Audio Workstations, or DAWs 101. This is for people who want to get started composing music using a computer and don't have the basics of the software. I'm going to be using Logic Pro 10, but most DAWs should have similar basic features and windows. So I'm going to start with the Arrange window, which is typically where I do most of my composing. There are a number of windows that you can use as pop-ups in the Arrange window, or you can open them separately. The other main windows I like to use are the Mixer page and the Score, and I'll show you those later. In the Arrange window, you can add tracks in a horizontal manner, and these can be audio tracks or software instrument tracks. In the case of Logic, and also GarageBand, as it's essentially a very cut-down version of Logic, you can add drummer tracks and also external MIDI tracks. Really, all you want to focus on in the beginning are the software instrument tracks, which is just MIDI information, and maybe audio tracks if you want to use loops or record into your DAW. Let's start by adding some tracks. I'm going to add 3 audio and 3 software instrument ones. I can do it via the track menu or via key commands. To get the hang of this, start by playing with some loops in these tracks. Your DAW may look different when adding loops. You might have to check out a beginner tutorial on YouTube for your specific software. In Logic and GarageBand, your loop browser is over to the right and can be opened by clicking this button. There are thousands of Apple loops that are available to GarageBand and Logic. Blue means audio and green means MIDI. Let's drag a couple across. To extend the loop, grab the top right-hand corner and drag to the right. So whilst we've got these playing, I'm going to hit the cycle button while I'll show you some other stuff. Let's now go to the Mixer page where you can see all the tracks in a vertical fashion, like a mixing desk. GarageBand doesn't have this page, which is why I don't tend to use it. I use this page to monitor levels, but that's just a personal preference. If you've got GarageBand, that's not going to stop you from composing. As you can see, the stereo out track is in the red, or what we call clipping. That means the overall signal is too loud and we need to bring the volume down. You can do this manually or automated. Check out my quick video on automation on my YouTube channel, but for now, let's bring down the track volumes manually. So that's better. The overall output isn't clipping anymore. Okay, you can see how the track works. Let's see about inputting your own stuff. If you want to record your own audio, you will need an audio interface or external sound card. Setting up for audio capabilities is beyond the scope of this video, but if you have an interface, jump onto YouTube again and see if anyone has posted a tutorial on how to set your particular interface up. Once you are able to do this, you will need to arm your track. In Logic, click on the R to arm it. You should see the peak meter registering sound. See these other buttons, M and S. They stand for mute and solo, which are also very useful. So to record, hit the record button or R. When finished, hit stop or spacebar. You will need to fiddle with your pre-gain on your interface to make sure the signal coming in isn't too quiet. If it is and you bring the volume level up, you will drag the noise floor up with it, which is the low-level hum and hiss of the ambience of a room. If you are wanting to input your own notes using a MIDI controller, and in my case a keyboard, you will use the software instruments. You will need to activate the virtual instrument plugins to sound like particular instruments, from members of an orchestra to synths, and everything in between. First, I'll click here and you can see all the virtual instruments I have available to me. I'm going to click on East West's Play plugin for this one. And now I sound like a violin section. What else can I select? Logic and GarageBand also have a synth plugin called Alchemy, which is ridiculously powerful. Let's see what this can sound like. So that's how you add a virtual instrument. But what about stuff like reverb, EQ, delay, and compression that you might have heard about? Don't even go anywhere near compression when you are just starting out. Get some confidence in using the other components of your DAW first. It can take years of fiddling about with compression to get the hang of it, although you can start with some of the presets that the plugin might have. But you can get started playing with things such as reverb and EQ. Let's put some reverb on this track. You can put it here under Audio Effects. Or, if you are going to use the same reverb on different tracks, the best way to do this is set it up on a bus. Click on Sends and pick a bus. In Logic, the bus track appears next to your selected track in the left-hand corner. Now you can add your effects unit to the bus. I'll pick a long reverb so you can hear the effect more easily. To send the signal through to the bus, use this dial. That will control how much reverb gets sent to your track. You can stick any audio effect on the bus track and control the amount of signal you get back from your different tracks. We'll quickly look at EQ, which stands for equalization. This is where you manipulate your frequency bands, giving it a bit of a bass boost or reducing some of the treble, that sort of thing. I like to use the plugin Channel EQ. Play with some of the presets to get a feel for it, then move the nodules around to see what difference that makes. Just before we look at exporting your audio, I will just show you the score page. Possibly not every DAW will have this function, and those that do probably aren't going to be as good as dedicated scoring software such as Finale, Sibelius, MuseScore and Dorico, to name a few. But Logic's score isn't too bad. It lets you add a lot of extra information like dynamics and articulation. Okay, let's export your audio, and we'll do it from the mixer page. When you're happy with all your levels and you're ready to bounce everything down to a stereo file, click Bounce on the stereo out track. It will ask you what you want to call it, what format you want to save it in, whether audio or MP3, what sample rate, and film music is always 48 kHz rather than 44.1 kHz, which is the CD standard. So there you go. That's digital audio workstations in a nutshell. I hope that you found this useful. Please don't hesitate to get in touch if you have any further questions. Bye for now.